I'm going to try this. I don't even have a smartphone, so. Okay, I'm Marshall Neal. I'm one of the co-founders of Main Street Crowd, and we built a coffee shop for economic development. Let me tell you a little bit about our company first. We started as crowdfunding offerings in 2011, and as you might guess from that name, our big idea was equity crowdfunding. We thought, if you believe the hype at the time, it was going to be the next big thing. I mean, this was going to be the next Facebook, bigger than Facebook. We were going to build the next NASDAQ. This was going to be huge. Well, it didn't turn out that way. And we were well into our development at the time. We understood pretty clearly that it wasn't going to be what it was touted to be. So we pivoted. We made a couple of key pivots. The first thing we did was change from a crowdfunding focus to an economic development focus. We thought that as big as crowdfunding might be, it's not enough to really do economic development in a community. The next thing we did was oh, this is too big. We changed from a national repository of searchable, like a Kickstarter, where it's just a big silo of information and people go there and search through it. We decided to build a network of local sites that were all interconnected, but they were branded locally and they were run by community organizations. So after all that, we changed our name to Main Street Crowd to focus on our stakeholders rather than what we did. So this comes from Nate Olson, and he says that communities are built on 1 million cups of coffee and the conversations they create. And we found that to be absolutely true. But what we found was that within these communities, there are human networks operating for economic development throughout every community, and they're very disconnected. They're all working, they're all doing their same thing, and they're all having their coffee and conversation, but they're not conversing with each other as separate groups. So it looks something like this in a community today. There's a lot of coffee, but there's not a lot of collaboration. Now, Nate noticed the same thing, obviously, and he decided, well, entrepreneurs aren't getting from these groups what they need to grow, to start, to expand. So let's just take the entrepreneurs out. Let's all go together and have another 1 million cups of coffee like we need it. And we can fundamentally change the culture of entrepreneurship. So now it looks something like this. It's still disconnected. Everybody here is doing their own thing, and the bankers aren't here. They're not listening. The other groups are doing their thing. They're all having coffee. We're all having coffee, but it's still disconnected. So what we did at Main Street Crowd, we decided we need to put all these people together locally with a local focus. So we've got what we call Cloud, C-L-O-W-D, the crowd in the cloud. And we've got these clouds that are local. They're hosted by a community organization, like a chamber, business alliance, even a fire department, hosts their own cloud. It's free. Their membership organizations. There's a lot of things that these clouds have. And the idea is to connect people together in all these groups, put everybody in the same place, put all the services available in one place, where in any community you can go and see what's available, who's out there, who you can talk to, connect you to all the different funding sources, not just crowdfunding. We did build in rewards crowdfunding is built into these platforms. So it's basically a white label rewards crowdfunding site locally. It's a local site with a local crowd. So you can think of this as a coffee shop where every group, every one of these disconnected groups has a table. They're all in the same room. There's an empty chair at each table. It's easy to see, the public's invited, it's easy to see who's in the room, what they're doing, how they're doing it. You can grab your coffee, you can sit at any one of these tables and have a conversation. It's all in one place, it's all connected, and it's all there. So we're open. We just launched in June with the Coronado Ventures and Mix event up in Santa Fe. We're busy putting in some cool new functionality right now, and we're starting to develop critical mass in the Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Four Corners area, southern Colorado. We're beginning to, because we're a grassroots organization and it's local, we have to get all our moving parts in place locally to show people how it works, how it all comes together, because it's brand new. We have a patent pending on this model. And that's it.
Does anybody have any questions for Marshall? Sir.
Where are you located?
Here.
Address.
Yeah.
Right here?
No, in my bedroom at my house. That's where we're located. We're a virtual company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been exploring the use of any facilities that bring people together in co-working, for instance?
No.
Okay, just.
Thank you, Aaron. Good try.
Yes.
Yeah, the SEC's, I think, recently, or is considering putting out new rules on crowdfunding. And I don't know what they are, but I've heard that it will really, my understanding is it will squash crowdfunding. Do you know anything about that? Does that affect your business?
Oh, it's top secret. The SEC doesn't want to do this at all. So they've dragged their feet from the very beginning. My partner and I are lawyers, and we thought we'll get into this equity crowdfunding thing. It's securities. We know about that. We'll be credible. They've dragged their feet through this whole thing, and now it's gone to the point that the states are beginning to do intrastate crowdfunding. They don't like the rules, the preliminary rules. They want to do it better and faster. And so now the legislators are beginning to think about crowdfunding 2.0 and changing the way it's going to work, because the federal rules just aren't going to be conducive. For example, it could cost you $45,000 to do a $100,000 raise. And that's upfront money that you pay. And if your raise isn't successful, if you don't sell those securities, you're out the 45 and you don't get the 100. So those are the SEC's numbers.
Could you repeat his question, please?
Oh, so he was asking about the SEC rules related to equity crowdfunding.
Equity crowdfunding, right.
Okay, thanks.
John?
Marshall, could you flesh out the monetization model a little bit more? What do you have in mind?
We've got built-in crowdfunding. That works like Kickstarter-ish, except that it's a local crowd. So we get revenue, we get a commission on successful projects. We do have a 90% rule, close counts rule. So if you get within 90%, we give you an extra week to finish it out. But these clouds have advertising space, so we can revenue share with the cloud host. We also will be aggregating crowdfunding projects from all the other platforms. We'll be aggregating peer-to-peer lending offerings from places like Prosper. They'll pay us for that action. So we have, and finally, we're working on online loan applications for local lenders within a cloud. And the banks will pay us a lot of money for that. So we have several sources of revenue that we can share. So we get 5% on a crowdfunding project, for example. We give 1.5 of that back to the cloud host, so that they can use that to promote the cloud and drive traffic to all the projects. So the cloud host, or it can return it to the project, and then it's only 3.5%. That's what Mix Santa Fe did up in Santa Fe. So we have 4 or 5 different revenue streams built into the clouds model.
Which one of those is working the best so far?
Well, the lending will be the biggest by a long shot. We don't have that built yet, but it'll be like LendingTree but local. So banks will sign up to be a in the clouds they want to be in, and the cloud host will have to allow them to come in. And then you can actually do a loan application. It's not only banks, it's Accion and other nonprofit lenders, and they're free. We don't charge them, so.
Mike?
Are you anticipating recourse or non-recourse?
We're,
And to the extent that you can you explain what recourse is in this context?
Sure, recourse is where the organization that's working with the bank that gets the fee from the bank signs a guarantee on the loan. So if it goes south, they pay.
no recourse. What we do is connect the applicant with the lenders they want to apply for. We have an online application. It goes, the bank pays us. If they want to see it, they pay us. And then we open it up to them. It's all uploaded on our system. We let them look at it, and then it's their choice to do the loan or not do the loan, and they deal with the borrower directly, and it's their deal. The thing about it is the good deals, the obviously good deals, 3, 4, 5, 10 banks are going to buy those from us. The bad deals, nobody's going to buy, right? So they're not, this doesn't fit our policy. We don't even want to see it. So then it doesn't cost them anything.
How are the clouds organized?
How are clouds organized?
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe walk us through a little bit of how somebody signs up and then.
yeah.
Clouds are easy. We have a new cloud as of yesterday. The Placitas opened up a brand new cloud. They're going to put a radio station out there. They want to raise money for that. So it's like signing up for Travelocity. It's easy. You click form a cloud, and we approve you. We have to approve the organization that you're a nonprofit, that you're doing community development or business development work, and what you're going to do with this cloud. You can't have a personal cloud. It has to be an organization. It has to, and they have to upload documents to prove that they're in good standing and all that stuff. Once we approve them, then they just configure their cloud. They upload images and text and have settings at what projects they want to pull in. Projects are like free agents on our system. Service providers are free agents. You could enter a service provider or do a crowdfunding project, and then the cloud pulls in what they want to see. So projects can be seen in many clouds, locally and nationally. So
If we had Michael in over here.
So this is a virtual coffee shop.
right.
And there are virtual tables, and you can pull up a virtual chair to a virtual table and have an actual discussion.
That's the best analogy I could do for coffee this morning, but the idea is that as an entrepreneur, and I've had this problem, even being a recovering banker, I can get into the bankers because I know most of them in the state. But you can't just walk in and have a cup of coffee and a conversation with anybody. And most people I talk to, every banker I've talked to has never even heard the word crowdfunding. Peer-to-peer lending is about to cut into their business big time, and they've never even heard of it. So you come in and say, we're doing crowdfunding. Entrepreneurs, we don't do startups, right? You can't have the coffee and the conversation with them. So they don't know you guys exist. They don't know what 1 million cups is, except that that's what they pay for the coffee in the bank. So, and it's the worst coffee, believe me. Bank coffee is something. So there's collaboration, there's discussions at the crowd level, there's discussions at the project level. So you can engage other members in the site in discussions, but more importantly, you can see the services they offer, you can see that they're there, and you'll be able to connect with them. So,
Michael, did you still, or?
So is there any, so I see a lot of connections made in the cloud. So if I am an organization and I'm in Albuquerque and I create my own cloud, am I part of a greater, cloud that is Albuquerque cloud? Is there this kind of, bringing it, I see that, I was thinking from the image that there would be all these organizations that would be sharing their resources possibly.
sharing their entities. So you'll set up your cloud and you'll say, we have public and private clouds, Los Alamos National Lab wants a private cloud. You can't, it's not searchable. Private projects, they want to raise money internally for their community projects. So employees from their desk can give money. This is a private cloud, nobody knows it's there. A public cloud is, you're going to say, these are the projects we want in. You can control what members come in, or you can open it up to everybody. You can control service providers, you can control advertising, you can control all of that stuff within your cloud and make it however you want to make it. And all of these entities are like I said, they're free agents. So I'm a member, and I can join with a click of a button. I can join or leave any cloud anywhere in the country. And I can follow you, and you can join some clouds. And I see maybe that you're following a project in Kansas City. So I can go to that cloud. Oh, I like these projects in there, and I can join that cloud. That way I'm notified about new projects in that cloud as well as any other clouds I'm in. So it sort of cross-pollinates with projects and members and service providers. As an attorney, I can say I want to provide services only in New Mexico where I'm licensed. I can set my geographic area, and then I'm going to try to go in to New Mexico clouds, and they can take me or not, however their settings are. Maybe they don't want lawyers in their cloud. I don't blame them. So yeah, that's how it works. It's like a white label platform, but it doesn't stand alone.
So to kind of build on his question, one thing that say Kickstarter or Indiegogo does is it enables you to find other projects in a region. So whether you have like a keyword or some kind of a tag that says Albuquerque or local agriculture. If you went to the Albuquerque tag, you'd find all the Albuquerque projects, or local agriculture, you'd find a lot of local agricultural projects around the country. Is that something it's geared to help people find those kinds of places?
And we have national clouds that are based on affinity. So like a women's business cloud or an agricultural cloud or a first responders cloud. And those clouds are our clouds that we created, and they pull in projects with that affinity nationwide. So if you're if you want to invest in veterans business, for example, you can join the Veterans Business Cloud, and you'll get a notification whenever a new project comes into that cloud. So it's national in that regard. Now, when we have a lot of projects, yeah, you'll be able to search them like that. So.
Yeah, so is this like a blog where you've got a special category, you go in and you start reading what's been discussed?
Not really. There's a discussion in the cloud. Okay. So when you register, when you register with the site, you can click the discussions tab and you can see what's going on, and there's a thread. There's different discussion threads that you can join.
So if I enter in late in the discussion, I've got to go back through and really see what's been discussed. You don't have a summary page, key facts.
No. No. That's something we'll build when we have that need. Right now, we're a startup, so there's not enough to read in there.
So I think like you, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and maybe it's kind of dense, but maybe the question to ask is who is the competition?
Here to talk to you about today is my program, which is called Everyone Can Work. Go to the next slide, please. And what we do is connect qualified applicants with employers in the community. So I help people find jobs, and that's why I'm really excited to talk to all of you today. So we started this program about a year ago because we realized this profound need for this type of work. In New Mexico alone, actually the statistic is wrong, 67% of people with disabilities are unemployed. So that's not just a challenge for the Social Security system, but it's actually an opportunity for local business owners and employers in the community. So when we first started doing this, we went through the traditional application process to try and find a job. We'd find an application, we'd send an application in online, and what we encountered were barriers. It was really hard for the people we serve to get through the gatekeepers to actually talk to the hiring managers or the decision makers in a company. Because the way that the system is designed currently, it actually weeds out the people I serve. Do you need a driver's license or to be able to drive a car to bus tables? No, not really. But is that a question on an application that could keep you from getting an interview? Absolutely. So we decided to take a different route, which is called customized employment. So have any of you heard of customized employment before? Just a quick show of hands. No one. Excellent. Well, have any of you heard of Tim's Place? Great. Okay, so this is a local restaurant that was able to make national headlines, CNN, NBC, NPR. And Tim's not one of our clients, but his parents used customized employment to, actually, you can just stay there. Thank you. To turn a challenge into an opportunity. So Tim is a young man who is diagnosed with Down syndrome, and he's never met a stranger. That means when he meets someone, he wants to give them a big hug. That would typically be a problem in the workplace, but not when you are a co-owner of the friendliest restaurant in the world. So you go to Tim's Place and you get a big hug, and you can actually see him there giving President Obama a hug just in July. So this is one way that they were able to use customized employment to turn a challenge into an opportunity. Now you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So really, the fundamental principle behind customized employment is identifying the unique contributions and abilities of an applicant and matching them with the specific needs of an employer. And it requires a lot of creativity. So while Tim wasn't one of our clients, let me tell you a couple stories about some of the work we've done in the community with local businesses. So first, meet Andy. This is one of our clients. You can see him here working in our organic garden and selling produce at the farmer's market. We were having a hard time finding a job for him until we started talking to Dion's. You may be familiar with the local pizza chain restaurant that has just expanded from New Mexico out into a couple other states recently. So we noticed that Dion's was really great at making pizza. They were really good at moving customers through the register line at the cashiers, but they weren't that great at moving people through the tables in the restaurant. That's where business was slowing down and getting bogged down. There wasn't high enough turnover there. So Dion's quickly understood that if they hired someone for 2 to 3 hours a day during the lunchtime rush, they could move customers more efficiently in and out of the restaurant, improve the quality of customer service, and actually increase their business. So we've identified the need in their business, but who would be a good applicant for that? Maybe a high school student? Well, during lunchtime, that's too difficult. They're in school. Maybe a college student that worked with their schedule for one semester, but what happens the next semester or when they graduate. This is a position that could potentially have a high turnover rate, which costs you money. So Andy is a perfect applicant for that kind of position because due to his disability, he can only work 2 to 3 hours a day. So you can see him there in his uniform. He looks great. And you can visit him. He works at the Dion's on University and Gibson. Let me tell you about another individual we work with. This is Robert. Now, Robert is a very talented young man who is diagnosed on the autism spectrum. He's passionate about extreme sports and helping kids with disabilities. He's here in an adaptive kayaking class with kids with autism, which was really great. So, next slide. So we started talking to Stone Age Rock Climbing Gym. Now, you may be aware they just moved to a new facility, and they actually tripled the size of their facility when they did that, in turn tripling the size of their janitorial needs. So we convinced them that Robert would be a good fit to work in their gym. But when he started working there, we realized there was no system for knowing what employee had to clean what area on what day. Because at their old facility, they could just have an open list of this has to get done today. If you're on the clock, someone will make it happen and someone will help the customers. When they moved to a larger facility, that wasn't working. Things weren't getting done, things were getting left to the end of the day, and there was no accountability because no one knew who was supposed to do what when. Now, this was very confusing for Robert because many people on the autism spectrum need a little more order and expectability and dependability. So we helped them reorganize their system for cleaning. So staff was assigned specific tasks on specific days, which not only helped Robert, but it streamlined their business operations and improved their customer service. So basically, the work that I do is trying to understand your needs in the business community. And these are a few trends and needs that we've identified, but we're learning more and more every day. And I hope I can learn a little bit more about what all of you are looking for and the challenges you're facing and how we could collaborate. And I'd also like to answer any questions you have about disability, developmental disability community, and working with that population. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, so I know sometimes when we're looking to maybe help businesses or help businesses connect with students, that one of the challenges businesses have is, you know, they're worried that it's going to be really difficult working with students, bringing them on as interns. What kind of challenges have you heard from the business community, and how have you addressed those about getting this population to work?
Well, and first of all, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Denise Larson. And before anyone asks, yes, we always match. This is what we do. She's going to help me answer questions because she's smarter than me. But so one of the questions that businesses often ask is, will these people need extra support? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. Many of the people we serve will need extra support. But that's why we have job coaches and job developers who are trained specialists who will work one-on-one with the client in your business so it doesn't require any extra supervision. They can anticipate these challenges and needs, and that comes at no cost to you. That is a service we provide. Question?
What about the challenge of position that just doesn't work out, and then unemployment and that sort of thing?
That's a really great question. And so, first of all, unemployment wouldn't kick in until you have someone with you for what? Does anyone know offhand? Day one. Day one.
Yeah, if it's for a full-time position, yes.
For a full-time position.
It's part-time though.
Well, we offer basically you're part of every step of the process. So we don't just throw someone into your business. So we allow every employer the opportunity to conduct an interview and make sure that it is a good fit for both of them. We have had one circumstance where it wasn't a good fit. The environment was just too noisy, and that was kind of causing a sensory overload. It wasn't a good fit. It was something we hadn't anticipated. And it was actually the client who identified that it wasn't a good fit for them. So we haven't really had, so it's a partnership. It kind of works two ways. So it's not like you're stuck with someone or it's charity. The applicants we work with are very excited about making meaningful contributions to the community. So it's as important for it to be a good fit for them as it is for the employer. Did that answer your question at all? Because other than that, you're taking the same risk as you are with any other employee you would hire. Yes.
I was curious about Andy's situation of working part-time. My understanding of the way something like Social Security benefits work is that that it doesn't graduate you into the workforce, that as soon as you start, you're going to lose a lot of benefits right away. Do you understand correctly?
There's a limit to, you start losing your Social Security benefits once you gain meaningful employment, which is when you earn $1,039 a month, I believe. So you can work about 28 hours a week on minimum wage without it. You still, without losing your benefits. Now, that being said, we still are making an impact on the Social Security system because for every $2 you earn, $1 gets paid back to Social Security. So the client would be still making more money. They would be paying money back into Social Security, and they wouldn't be losing their benefits through Medicaid. Did that clarify it? Yes.
Is it just a standard hire, or is there some kind of benefits that the business gets for hiring these specific clients?
Oh, sure.
So he asked if it was a standard hire or if there's benefits for hiring individuals that we work with. So in addition to the monetary draw that they have some tax breaks as far as getting some of the payback at tax time, it's a benefit to the workplace in that it makes it stronger. You have individuals that are they have high morale, they're excited to be at work, and that's going to really benefit your workplace, and you're going to get to work with people who are genuinely interested in working with you. And I think we can all agree that that's a better workplace to be in. So yes, money and morale.
Just a curious question, what is Andy doing to turn the tables?
Well, he's doing basic busing sort of stuff. He gets customers refills, make sure that the trays for the sandwiches and stuff are taken back promptly to the kitchen, so they're able to turn over more sandwiches, they're able to seat people at clean tables, and everybody likes to go into a restaurant that looks clean.
I thought maybe it was
Rarely.
Let's get her in the back and then you.
So for Mandy's Farm, is there like a place where they can, the clients that you have can connect and have a sense of community and learn from one another and their experiences? Are you coaching them individually or as a group? And then on a personal note, my cousin has disability and she's very lonely often, and it's really hard for her to make friends.
Mhm.
And I think that can really contribute to her will to thrive and want to be productive because she wants purpose.
Yeah.
So on what level do you support them in training professionally as a group and then also just spiritually, reconnecting with?
Sure. So Mandy's Farm has resources as far as the day program that creates a community where individuals can learn new skills, interact with the community at large. But for employment services, we usually do work more on an individual basis to help them create natural supports in the workplace. So instead of just keeping them within the community that they exist in currently, we're trying to connect them to the community at large and really bring them to part of the general population. Does that answer your question?
Do the clients ever get together as a group at your facility?
Not in our program per se, no. But at Mandy's Farm, they do. Mhm.
What's you really described the impact you're having right now, especially these two stories are really awesome. What is the vision for growing this impact? In the 1 million cups kind of vein, we like to talk about scalable organization that can really have outsized impact and grow the community. So what, 5 years out, 2 years out, where do you want this to go?
Well, ideally, we would like to see all of the individuals that we have in the day program at Mandy's Farm gain community employment. So that would be more of a stepping stone for them to join the larger community.
And that's a long-term goal. A day program is kind of a place that people go from about 9 to 3 every single day, and they work on activities. And we think that if you can be working on activities somewhere, you could be actually working and making money. So in the long term, we'd like to kind of change this whole system. In the more short term, we would like to expand our program, and then ultimately we would like to serve as the model for other programs in other states. So that's our vision. You in the back, and then you.
So am I understanding this that if I contact you guys offer like pretty much free consulting for my business, evaluate something that I'm not looking at, something that I'm not seeing, and then solve this problem by filling a job potential need for labor that I haven't seen?
Absolutely. Yes, for free. That is something that we're trying to do with every employer in Albuquerque. We want to talk to every single one of you and just understand how your business operates. Maybe we can see something that you haven't seen. And if we have an applicant that would fit that need, we'll match you up with it. If we don't, we can contact our network of other supported employment agencies, or just tell you, you know, if we run into someone, we'll let you know. Because we're never going to match you with someone that isn't the perfect fit. Thank you for your question. And then you in the front, and then you in the back, sir.
You just mentioned serving as an example to other states, but I think when you talk about the scalability, it's probably serve as an example to other places in the state.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the scalability would be if you were able to connect and do this when you've got Las Cruces, Farmington, Clovis, figure out the scalability across the state because it's such a great idea.
Absolutely.
Definitely
Thank you. You, sir.
Other groups in the local area doing similar types of work?
Yes, there are other groups. You may have heard of Adelante or Goodwill Industries. The difference between those groups and the work that we're doing is that we have some minimum standards that we uphold for all of our clients. First of all, everyone has to be making minimum wage or more. There are currently loopholes in current employment laws that allow for things like time studies, where you can actually pay people pennies per hour for the work that they're doing, and we don't believe in that. We would like to progress beyond that. And also, the idea of customized employment and really working one-on-one with the employer and the unique abilities is something new that a couple other agencies are trying out, but yeah, so we're hoping it catches on. Yes.
How engaged do you stay in the employment after it's set up, and how much is just focused on customizing it to get it going?
No, we're there throughout. So we're a resource for the employer as long as our individual is working for them. So we are there for the training process, and ideally we would like to have minimal supports at some point, but the employer